There's something impressive about how available we've become. You can reach almost anyone, almost anytime. Across cities, across time zones, across emotional distance, you reply quickly. You stay polite. You keep the thread alive. You're good at this. You know how it feels to see a notification ghost you. The phone lights up, then nothing. A preview without a body. You know how it feels to type a message slowly, carefully, then delete it. Rewrite it, delete it again. You know how it feels to feel close to someone you've never met. A voice in your ears, a face on a screen. Parasocial warmth without mutual risk. You know how it feels when an algorithm understands your mood before a person does. Feeds that anticipate you. Content that feels intimate without being relational. And you know the fatigue, the constant low-grade pressure, the sense that you're behind, even when you're caught up. Texting feels safer than talking now because talking is unbuffered. Talking has timing, tone, silence. Texting lets you manage the self you send. This is the core archetype of our moment. The digitally overconnected, emotionally underfed self. Always reachable, rarely held, always responding, and rarely resting. The more our devices sync, the more our hearts drift. And somewhere along the way, voice became exposure. Presence became risk. And silence edited silence became protection. The question isn't why texting feels safer. The question is what it's costing us. Texting gives you control over timing. Your brain reads that as safety. From a nervous system perspective, real-time conversation activates social threat circuits. Tone matters, pauses matter. Facial feedback matters. Your brain has to track it all at once. Texting strips that complexity away. You can regulate before responding. Delay emotion. Curate clarity. Outwardly, this looks like calm communication. Internally, it often feels like holding your breath. The more you rely on control to feel safe, the less tolerance you build for emotional spontaneity. Like a child kept too close to the fire alarm, every spark feels dangerous. Eventually, even warmth feels like threat. Notifications deliver dopamine, small hits, predictable rewards. Conversation delivers attachment. Texting trains the brain to associate connection with stimulation, not bonding. The reward arrives without the risk. Outwardly, it looks like engagement. Internally, it feels hollow. Dopamine teaches the nervous system to crave contact without closeness, fire without heat, noise without nourishment. Research on attention shows what constant interruption does to depth. Your mind adapts by skimming reality. Emotion requires sustained attention. Feeling takes time. Texting allows partial presence. You can be everywhere and nowhere. Outwardly, you seem responsive. Internally, you feel diluted. When attention fragments, emotion follows. The child inside learns that feeling fully is unsafe in a world that never pauses. Texting reduces exposure. You don't have to witness the other person's reaction. Your attachment system stays half engaged, close enough to feel something, distant enough to stay protected. Outwardly, this looks like independence. Internally, it feels like loneliness with better lighting. Over time, the nervous system forgets how to stay present through discomfort. Fire becomes flicker. Warmth becomes aesthetic. Texting encourages optimization. Better words. Better timing. Better image. Conversation allows imperfection. Voice cracks. Silence lingers. Outwardly, texting looks polished. Internally, it feels like acting. When communication becomes performance, authenticity starts to feel dangerous. If I show up unedited, I might be rejected. The fire burns. But the room stays cold. How often do you mistake stimulation for connection? Loneliness has risen alongside connectivity, not despite it. Alongside it. Reporting on modern loneliness shows a strange pattern. More contact. Fewer anchors. Attention research points to emotional shallowness as a byproduct of constant interruption. Burnout narratives no longer sound dramatic. They sound normal. Thinkers in tech culture have warned about this for years. That convenience replaces conversation. That metrics replace meaning. That connection without presence erodes trust in our own feelings. The cost isn't dramatic collapse. It's quiet erosion. You start missing a version of yourself you can't quite name. The one who could sit in silence without scrolling. The one who could speak without scripting. Common adult patterns emerge, appearing calm while internally overloaded. Being digitally present while emotionally absent. Confusing availability with intimacy, avoiding voice because it feels too much. Feeling lonely even while constantly connected. The grief here is subtle. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up as numbness, as irritability, as phantom connection, the feeling that someone is almost there. The more our devices sync, the more our hearts drift. And the self that knew how to linger quietly fades into the background. What version of you existed before constant availability? Healing here isn't disconnection, it's discernment. Attention is not infinite, it's relational. When attention is constantly pulled, the nervous system stays alert. Growing up in this environment teaches you that love is conditional on responsiveness. You assume availability equals worth. This creates the shadow of digital overexposure, numbness, irritation, a constant sense of being almost known. Reclaiming begins with noticing, not deleting apps, not fleeing technology, but asking quieter questions. Where does connection nourish, and where does it extract? Who has default access to your attention? When did availability become an obligation? Depth requires boundaries, not isolation. Conversation repairs what text flattens. Presence heals what performance fractures. This is not about purity, it's about pacing. Connection and solitude. Technology and limits. Responsiveness and rest. Nervous system repair happens slowly. Through fewer conversations held with more care. Through voice when possible. Through silence that isn't empty, no grand transformations. No sudden clarity. Just the quiet rebuilding of trust between attention and safety. The fire doesn't need to go out. It needs space to warm again. Texting feels safer than talking now because safety has been redefined. Safety became control, predictable, and distance. But safety was never meant to replace connection. It was meant to make connection possible. If this resonated, stay here a while. Not to consume, but to notice. Synced apart exists for that noticing. For slowing the signal enough to feel again. If this resonates with you, share it with someone who might feel the same way. Subscribe and let the next video connect with you. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so we can dive into topics like attention, presence, and real human connection together. This journey isn't about fixing you. It's about embracing the human experience.